Hello there, everybody. So I'm making this short little video for you because from time to time I have people come to me and ask me about the breath work, ask me about how they're supposed to breathe when you're practicing yoga, and ask me why I remind you to breathe so much. And I often joke that that is about 50% of my job. That's why they pay me the big bucks, is to remind everybody to breathe. And so I want to talk a little bit about the importance of breath work and how the breath is actually more important than the posture. So it's quite common for people to think that yoga is mostly postures and just moving the body and physical exercise. That's sort of the first stage, and that's often why people get into yoga, is because they've heard about all of the benefits that are, good for the health and moving the body with yoga postures. And that part's true. There's a lot of effects, physiological effects that are helpful to our health for using the different postures. They address all sorts of different health issues, from addressing the skeletal muscular system to helping to calm our nervous system, increase circulation, helpful to the heart. All the body systems are benefited. This is true. When it comes to the breath, though, the breath is what carries the prana, or the life force, the oxygen, into the cells. And essentially, every breath you take, the whole body is oxygenating, and the whole body is cleansing when we exhale. It's cleansing out the CO2. A body that's really well oxygenated is really, really resilient to stress and disease and illness. So they've actually proved that cancer has a really difficult time thriving in an environment that's rich in oxygen. So breathing very deeply is really, really beneficial for our health, for creating stronger immunity and increasing vitality. So the breath that you want to use when you're practicing is a breath in and out through the nose. And you can think of it as just your natural breath, how you're naturally breathing. But you might be breathing slightly slower than your natural breath. So the breath that we use in yoga, obviously we're breathing all the time, but we don't usually take a lot of attention to our breath, and a breath is sometimes very unconscious, and we don't, it's just happening automatically. So the breath in yoga is being aware of your breath. It is breathing fully in and fully out. So we're not just breathing shallowly in the top of the lungs, which is what we tend to do in our regular day. Sometimes we just use this very small percentage of our breathing capacity, and we're not actually pulling that oxygen really deep into the body and into the cells. So when we're breathing deeply in yoga, we're being aware of fully inhaling all the way to the top, and then fully exhaling all the way to the bottom. So it's important to empty all the way out to make space for a fresh breath to come in. You've heard people say, take a deep breath when you're stressed, like take a couple of deep breaths. And people often think of, oh, that means take a big inhale. But in order to inhale, in order to fill, we have to first empty. So the exhale breath is a really, really important part of this breathing. And there's lots of different breathing techniques, from ujjayi breath, which is that ocean sounding breath, to a ha breath, which is exhaling out the mouth for relaxation. But when you're just doing your regular practice without any of the fancy breath techniques, you're just bringing your awareness to your breath, being aware of your breathing, first of all, being aware of breathing all the way in and all the way out, and then also possibly slowing down your breath a little bit. So this little bit of breath regulation is slowly training up our respiratory system to thrive on less oxygen. It's becoming more optimal at the way that it handles the oxygen that we are taking in. And slowing the breath down is part of that. But you always want to make sure that you are getting enough breath. You never feel short of breath. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about breathing. A little note about how to practice at home. So when you're practicing at home, there's a few things you have to take care of, because no one is there holding the space for you. You have to create an environment to hold the space for yourself. And this is all about becoming self-sufficient, independent. right? So when you come to a yoga class and you have a teacher like myself, we are there making sure that the door is closed, making sure that no one's going to come in and interrupt your relaxation or distract you. We make sure that the environment is as favorable as possible for you to be able to focus, for you to be able to relax and feel safe and let go, because that's a huge part of your practice too, right? So when you're practicing at home, you need to do those things for yourself. So whatever room that you're in, if possible, close the door of that room. Put a sign on the door that says, meditating, please do not disturb. You can even put a note of what time you'll be available, depending on who you're living with and what kinds of elements you have going on. Lots of people say, oh, my cat and my dog are all over me, right? I can't close the door, or they're in there. And that's okay. Like, I practice with my cat and dog all over me. It's not ideal, but it's life, right? But do your best to create a space that's sacred for you, that holds the space for you, and be creative with it, right? If that means getting up early in the morning when people are still sleeping, turning your cell phone off, really, really important. And, not even bringing the phone in the room with you. So it's also nice to have that area be really clean, to have an area that's sort of special and sacred for your practice, whether that's a special room, which we don't all have, or it's just an area in your house that you keep sort of neat and tidy, and you put some items or objects that make you feel relaxed, make you feel inspired, whether that's pictures or candles or incense. Whatever that is for you, create that space for yourself, and you will enjoy your practice and look forward to your practice even more. All right, so that's my tips. Thanks, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.